the Nonprofit Podcast, powered by DonorBox.
This time of the year, it feels like the to-do list is a mile long and the days are just slipping away. If you're finding yourself frantically scribbling down year-end fundraising plans, or, let's be honest, realizing you haven't even started, take a deep breath. You're not alone. Welcome back to the Nonprofit Podcast. I'm Kara, fundraising coach at DonorBox.
And I'm Jenna, the nonprofit advocate here at DonorBox.
And we're here each week with practical actions you can use today to take your nonprofit to the next level tomorrow. Recently, a DonorBox user reached out with a question that probably resonates with many of you. They said, "We are brand new to donation campaigns and fundraising. What would you recommend as must-dos and activities we should focus on to capitalize on Giving Tuesday and the remainder of the giving season?" If you've been procrastinating, it's not too late. Today, we tackle some tips and must-dos during year-end.
You bet. We know this time of year can be a mix of excitement and stress for nonprofits, so we've definitely got a handful of tips to help folks navigate it, hopefully.
For those who might be feeling a bit behind on their year-end fundraising plans, the first thing I would emphasize for the procrastinators out there is not to panic. There's still time to make a significant impact during giving season. Jenna, what do you think are the most important things organizations should focus on before those last 48 hours of the year roll around, something that really sets them up for success?
Well, first of all, I agree. There is totally no need to panic. And I'd say start with checking up on the heart of your fundraising strategy, which is your donation page.
Yes,
I think this is a really easy place to start. And now is a really important time to run a few more tests. Check for clarity and purpose on your donation page, and ask friends or coworkers to audit the giving process. And those fresh eyes can really catch those mistakes, from spelling errors to broken links, right? That's the last thing you want, is someone to click on your donate button and the link is just broken, right? So it's definitely the time to tap into your network for that last minute feedback.
That is really great advice. And when we talk about clarity and purpose, are there specific aspects on that donation page that organizations should really pay extra attention to?
Well, beyond just ensuring that the form fields are clear and concise, organizations should also double check the overall layout and design. So are there any distractions that might deter potential donors? Is the call to action clear and concise and compelling? So it's all about creating that seamless experience that guides the donors through the process without any confusion. So no extra form fields that are unnecessary, and really just trying to make it not so clunky, right?
Yeah, that is really great. Okay, so what's next?
The next tip on my list is all about the power of crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a really exciting and effective method for nonprofits, especially during the giving season. We've been talking a lot about crowdfunding at DonorBox lately.
Yeah, and I've seen some really great crowdfunding campaigns already this season. So what tips do you have for organizations looking to set up a crowdfunding page?
Yeah. Well, first of all, crowdfunding is so great during giving season because it's just a really affordable way for both new and established nonprofits to raise big funds, right? It not only engages your current supporters by consistently updating them on your campaign's progress, but it also really leverages the power of shareability. And with virtual donor walls for social proof and those social media buttons, it's just really great. So for organizations that are thinking about setting up a crowdfunding page for the giving season, my tips would be to take a look at your titles and taglines. That is a big part of your campaign's branding. So those things should be simple, they should be direct, and they should stand out. So you can use free SEO tools to find the best keywords to plug in for, that better searchability. And then you should also keep the content on your page easy to understand. Try to avoid any industry jargon. Just talk to your supporters like you would talk to any other human, right? And this content should really provide a reason for people to subscribe to your campaign so they can get those regular updates and also ultimately donate, right? And then another tip I'd say here is that crowdfunding success is often tied to storytelling.
Yeah.
So you really need to share stories of your beneficiaries and the projects that you're working on. Use those high quality images. You can also add in videos from your iPhone if you need to. It doesn't have to be fancy. And those are really just important for capturing attention and conveying the impact of the work that you're trying to accomplish, right? And then since crowdfunding is entirely online, you should really maximize your campaign's reach by including those social media sharing buttons on your page. So with one click, your visitors can share your campaign on Facebook and LinkedIn and whatever platforms they're on. And it just makes it really easy to expand your reach there.
Those are excellent tips, Jenna. All right, so we've knocked out 1 and 2. What is your tip number 3?
Well, okay, here's the thing. Fundraising can sometimes feel like a solo journey. I bet a lot of people are nodding their heads right now, right? But the truth is you do not have to do it alone. So tip number 3 is don't do it alone.
Don't do it alone. I love that. That's one reason I think it is easy to procrastinate, to think I have to go raise all this money all by myself. Any tips for that, Jenna?
Embrace peer-to-peer fundraising. So you're bringing in your peer-to-peer fundraisers. So instead of just donating, participants become active fundraisers for your organization. So they create those personal fundraising pages dedicated to your cause. And that really boosts those year-end efforts and awareness by turning those supporters into ambassadors, or heck, even marketers or fundraisers for your campaign, which is amazing, right? And then it helps you reach more donors, raise more donations, and meet those revenue goals for less, since your supporters are actively involved and you're not doing it alone. That's the best part.
Okay, so what should organizations consider before implementing peer-to-peer? There is some work on the front end, right?
Yeah, there is definitely some work on the front end. So what I'd say is you definitely need to be prepared. Do not wait until the very last minute to set up a peer-to-peer campaign. There is that fair amount of work, including training supporters, creating those toolkits with email templates and social media templates, and ensuring that everything is in place for a seamless launch. But if you start now, you'll be in good shape for year end. So, don't leave it till the last week. But if you start now, I think you'll be in really good shape.
Okay.
But to make the process smoother, we've created a great ebook in the DonorBox library called Peer-to-Peer Fundraising 101. So it includes tips and handy templates to help organizations get set up for success. And it explains a little bit about the difference between crowdfunding and peer-to-peer. Because they're similar enough, they often get confused. So we'll go ahead and link that ebook in the show notes today.
Oh, great. Both crowdfunding and peer-to-peer are really great methods to connect donors to an organization. So can I jump in with a tip number 4?
Go for it.
I really think connection is key, and making sure your mission is clear is going to help everyone who is fundraising for your organization this time of year. So connecting your mission to your donors' dollars is absolutely essential. When you make your message clear about what your donor is actively doing, what you're doing is creating a bond between them and your organization. They're advocating on your behalf. They're taking your message into the world. And what it is you give them confidence to do that for you. And then you're also giving them confidence that their donation, their friends' donations are really going to the right place, into the right organization, doing the right thing in the world right now. Jenna, I'm sure you've got some other thoughts on this too. What are some specific strategies that you've seen organizations do that really helps build this connection and enhance it?
Yeah, I think that you're so spot on with that messaging, right? Connecting the dollar to the impact. And now from the tech side, there are ways to create that connection as well. Coming from that angle, connecting their actions to like a finished outcome. So what I'd say here is use embeddable forms or pop-up forms on your fundraising page. So you really want to make it easy for donors to contribute directly on your website. So the smoother the donation process, the more likely donors are to complete their donation form. So you're creating a journey from the very beginning, right? From the second they land on your page and feel compelled by that really excellent messaging to clicking that button and just making that process really easy when they are feeling connected to your cause. And then again, going back to that, your custom color code, like your hex code, your brand colors, you really want to use that consistent branding, including those colors, to really reinforce your organization's identity and create a cohesive experience for the donor. And that may be at the back of your mind, right? But it really truly is important to creating that seamless experience. And then we've talked about this a bit already, but your call to action, you guys, is the opportunity to bring your donor to the finish line here. So you really want to clearly articulate what you want them to do and why it's impactful. So for example, a donor box organization, No Baby Blisters call to action is medically neglected babies depend on you. Please choose your monthly or one-time gift below so they never run out of life-saving surgeries.
Oh, I love
right?
that.
So there's urgency here for sure, but it's very specific. They're telling you exactly what you want to do and how your dollars will make an impact. So really clear and concise.
Yeah, that is truly great advice. And it's super simple. That's a 15-minute fix, as you're setting up your fundraising form and your donation page. We've talked a lot about the operations, getting your forms ready and empowering and equipping your supporters, making sure it's easy for your donors to give. But let's talk about how to share that message, the big giving season message.
Yeah, people need to know that you've got a campaign, right? So you've got to share that message. So I'd say tip number 5 here is once is not enough. Don't just send your appeal once and be done. We've said it a million times here on the Nonprofit Podcast and on our webinars and everywhere else, but your potential donors typically need to see your message 7 to 12 times and through various channels before they make a gift. So it's really important to create a multi-channel marketing campaign that covers all the ways that you can reach your audience, from direct mail, social media, email, advertisements, your website, and even phone calls and events.
And I'll add, if you've created a direct mail appeal, just repurpose that best content from that letter to other channels. You can adjust the tone, the length, the visuals for each platform. It's going to look different in social media than it does in email, but avoid that need to start from scratch. And you can break those impactful stories into multiple social posts or emails and really maximize your outreach and create some anticipation while minimizing the time that it takes to do that. So just remember to post regular reminders, express gratitude, share those updates over the next 30 days, but especially do not forget those last 2 days of the year. That's when at least 10% of all giving is raised. So utilize all of those channels to encourage last-minute gifts. Many donors give to meet the current tax year deadline, and showing progress towards your goal may really prompt additional contributions. Stay active and engaged in those final days and really, really make the most of it. Okay, so I know we've covered a lot of ground, but what's the next gem of wisdom for our nonprofits out there?
I'd say for the grand finale here, tip number 6 is simple yet powerful. Ask for help. Things can and probably will go wrong at some point, and that's okay. So we've always got you covered. At DonorBox, we really pride ourselves in having the best support team. Our support team is available 24/7, Monday through Friday, and also on the weekends. And they're so quick to respond, and they genuinely care about making sure that you're set up for success. And many nonprofits appreciate the time and care our support team puts into assisting them. So if you encounter any challenges, please do not hesitate to reach out. You can drop them an email at support@donorbox.org and they'll have your back.
Yep, just another example of you are not alone. So, of course, we can't let you go without a practical action. I encourage all of our listeners to create a heartfelt thank you campaign. Take a couple of hours in the coming weeks to show gratitude toward your supporters, whether it's through a personal email or a handwritten note or a thoughtful card. We even have some donor box organizations. I know somebody was out delivering cookies the other day to their board members and key volunteers in the area, which is really great. So just expressing that gratitude can set the stage for continued engagement and support all the way through the end of the year and into next. So Jenna, thank you so much for sharing these helpful tips today.
It was my pleasure as always.
Well, and speaking of saying thanks, as we wrap up this week's episode, we want to sincerely thank you, our listeners, for spending a little of your time this busy season with the Nonprofit Podcast. I hope you've left with the confidence to take a small step today that will make a big difference tomorrow. Be sure to click the download button on your podcast player, then leave the Nonprofit Podcast a review or give it a thumbs up if you're listening to the Nonprofit Podcast on YouTube. Your review really is a great way to help others find us. You're here to help others, and we're here to help you. So until next time, stay inspired.
That warm feeling when you help someone, it's not just happiness, it's fulfillment. And we believe it should be available to everyone. From frontline heroes to first-time fundraisers, our tools empower you to help others. This is our mission. This is DonorBox, helping you help others.